There is not a single man who actually believes in not all men, because they'll tell their sisters and mothers to be careful, and they'll obsess over controlling their wives and daughters because they know. Deep down, they too assume that men are all the same. But to everybody else, it's not all men. So to those men, instead of trying to distance yourself from the problem, because you can't get over your bruised male ego, realize that if you refuse to acknowledge the problem by derailing the conversation and invalidating women, you are just as bad.
Guys, something that a lot of these modern women don't seem to realize is that the more they sit here, the more that they go out and they make these videos trying to shame men into having the same opinions as them, the more men kind of turn around and go, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to give in to this crap, okay? Just because you get online and you say these things and you try and shame me doesn't make what you're saying make any more sense. Okay, because these girls, guys, they know what they can't sit there and logically explain to you what they're saying because they know it's stupid as hell. So what they're going to do is they're going to sit here, right, and they're going to say things like your bruised male ego. I'll show you this in this line right here, guys. Like if we just skip ahead a little bit, check this out, right? Blah, blah, blah. Instead of trying to distance yourself from the problem because you can't get over your bruised male ego. Guys, I want you to imagine for a moment the roles were reversed here, and I was out on TikTok saying this stuff, like bruised female ego, right? And all this crap like, oh, who hurt you? And if you don't agree with me, then it's just because you're defective in some way, right? It's because you've got an ego issue. Guys, I would be kicked off of that platform so damn quickly, and yet this stuff is just straight up allowed to thrive. But what is going on, gentlemen? It is Taylor the Fiend back again with another response video. And on today's show, guys, we've got a few TikToks that we're going to be going through today, as well as a few Reddit stories and one particular article. So, guys, without further ado, we're going to give this one more listen before we continue on to today's next video. Now, this girl, we're actually going to be showing two of her TikToks today. Because her whole TikTok is full of stuff like this, by the way. If you thought this was a one-off, no.
There is not a single man who actually believes in not all men, because they'll tell their sisters and mothers to be careful, and they'll obsess over controlling their wives and daughters because they know.
Let's just pause that right there, okay? So she's basically saying that men believe it's all men because, for example, they might say be careful to their wife or their daughter when that wife or daughter goes outside. You understand that those two things are not mutually exclusive, right? A guy can say, oh, be careful when you go out, and he knows that it's not going to be all men, right? But, there might be some crazy guy, there might be some crazy girl out there. You see what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't seem to understand that she says not all men, but if I tell, for example, if I had a wife, right, and I say to her, oh, be careful when you go out there, that doesn't mean that I'm saying all men are going to treat her awfully when she leaves the door, right? But this person just cannot comprehend the most simple thing, guys. It's simply a matter of logistics and how words work, and she can't even, like, guys, I kid you not, man. I was sitting in Discord, right, with my editor, and we were talking about, going over what to cover on today's episode, guys. And like, this is just something that it's not even about men or women, right? It's just this individual just can't understand how words work. I think that's the most disturbing part about all of this, really.
Deep down, they too assume that men are all the same. But to every
Again, I can tell someone to be careful when they go out. That doesn't mean that I'm assuming all men are the same when that person leaves the house. You see what I'm saying?
everybody else, it's not all men. So to those men, instead of trying to distance yourself from the problem because you can't get over your bruised male ego, realize.
Look at that, guys, right? You see this face right here? This is the face of someone who's saying things that they don't even know what the hell they mean. Right? Have you guys ever seen, I'm sure you've seen it plenty of times by now, especially if you've been around the internet for a little while. Okay, you will see these people jump on the internet and they don't even believe what they're saying. Like, they believe it, but they don't understand it. Right? It's just like they're a mouthpiece for propaganda. And I'm going to show you some of the comments on this TikTok once it's over as well.
That if you refuse to acknowledge the problem by derailing the conversation and invalidating women, you are just as bad.
And let's talk about that for a second. So that was the end of the video right there, right? So basically, if you don't agree that all men are a certain way, i.e., criminals or whatever the case may be, then you are just as bad as those aforementioned criminals or the guys who are out there, quote unquote, being the bad ones, being the bad eggs, right? So if you don't agree with her, guys, you are essentially the same as a criminal. That's what she's saying, right? If you don't agree with her that all men are this or all men are that, then you're a criminal. And that's where we're at in current day society. Now, guys, I want to show you a few of these comments. And, you know, the funny thing about these comments, guys, right, is I haven't even read the comments, and yet you can already tell that they're just going to be some of the most clown world stuff and just readily available content. So let's take a look and see what these people have to say in the comments here. Not all men has the same energy as all lives matter. We all know it's true, but it's not the point. Just listen to others and shut up. Yeah, guys, just, you know, just listen, be quiet and shut up, right? And here's the thing that should, and again, I haven't read these comments, guys. Like, I just literally pulled up the comment section to show you guys, knowing that these comments would be here. That's how predictable this crap is, right? Let's take a look. Not all men has the same energy as all lives matter. We all know it's true, but it's not the point. And so if you know it's not true, right? If you know it's not all men, and yet you sit here making videos that it's all men, isn't that just the most contradictory thing? And guys, like this, if you guys don't know how TikTok works, right? This number here, this is the amount of likes that this comment has received. This comment has 17.5 thousand people agreeing with it, right? Isn't that just absolutely insane? But let's continue, have a look, blah, blah, blah. If it doesn't apply to you, then why would you ignore it? I don't know. It's almost like you're addressing all dudes when you make statements like this, interestingly enough, right? If you sit there and you make a video saying all men, and then you say it, if it doesn't apply to you, then simply ignore it. It's like, but you've addressed all men by saying it. She's someone's sister, knows she's someone. Literally, my dad victim blames and says not all men are the same. Meanwhile, he doesn't let me go out at night, teaches me self-defense, and makes me park. Again, guys, these people just can't understand that you can do these things without believing that it's all men. Like, isn't that just absolutely crazy? But let's continue on to today's next TikTok. And this time we have a different woman. We'll be returning to the woman that we just watched momentarily after this one. So let's see what this girl has to say here.
Dating all men is an inherently sexist idea because you're blaming the entire male population.
I'm stitching it again because I'm not done. My least favorite thing that these conservative Barbies do is try and flip the script when they don't understand the script. They can't read the language the script is written in, and now they want to try and flip it. If you can't understand that society functions with main groupings of people as systems to give certain people power over others, then why are you talking about sexism?
You know, I'm just going to pause her there, right? Because I always hear this boogeyman, right? Of like how dudes have privilege over women, and yet they can never give you a solid example, right? The quote unquote solid example, guys, that they will give you is that women are paid less. No, they're not. They're not actually. Right, if you look at the gender pay gap, guys, it can very easily be explained by a bunch of different factors. One, men choose to work jobs that actually pay more. And guys, like, I'm only going to explain one portion of this because I've been over this many times, okay? Let's just say you have a high-paying engineering job, right? And you have 100 vacancies for that job. And because of the nature of men and women, men, you know, choose to become qualified in engineering more often than women do. So you might end up with a ratio of 9-to-1 applicants being male to female, okay? So what that means is, you know, if you've got your 100 vacancies and you've got a ratio of, let's just say it's 10 vacancies, right? And you've got 90 men applying and 10 women, you're going to fill the majority of your vacancies with men because there's more chance that they will perform better simply because there's more. It has nothing to do with the men or the women. It's there are less women choosing these jobs. They're less likely to move for jobs. They're less likely to pay higher paying jobs. They take more time off. They work less overtime. It's like girls choose to earn less money and then complain about a wage gap. It's like, of course there's a wage gap because you do different amounts of work. Like, I don't know, guys, it blows my mind because they can never tell you like what they're actually talking about, right? They'll just say, oh yeah, men have it, you know, men are so privileged and they oppress people, right? But they can never give you a solid example. Guys, I believe it's been like what, since 1984 that you haven't been allowed to legally, paid people different depending on gender, by the way.
Because you don't understand it. It's a system. It's not an individual thing. When people criticize men, they are criticizing the system that is the patriarchy.
And what is this boogeyman, guys? You know what I mean? It's like, if you want to talk about this, actually, right? If you have a job in STEM, for example, STEM jobs are more likely to take women simply because they're underrepresented in STEM, because women don't pick those jobs. And if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, I'm talking about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, the jobs that actually pay you money rather than gender studies degrees, right? It's like you have a higher chance of a woman getting into these positions because of the fact that you're a woman. There are more scholarships, more grants for women in education than men, okay? Because women are choosing these things less often, and a lot of organizations want to have this this pretty image of, you know, being about equality when it's difficult to have because women aren't even applying for these damn things, right?
A system that infiltrates individual minds at a rapid rate. And pretending like girls are just making this up is so ridiculous when the system is so visible and obviously affects you in daily life.
Dating all
Yeah, guys, it's so visible, and yet nobody can seem to give you a tangible example of how this works. Right? Oh, the patriarchy makes my life so hard. Really, how? Right? Really? Like, explain to me how it makes your life so difficult compared to men. You know what I mean, guys? And then they'll always bring up the argument like, oh, the patriarchy affects men too. But then that removes the argument of men being privileged. It's like they want to have everything, guys. They want to have their cake and eat it too when they make these arguments. And I want you guys to notice how a lot of it is just airy-fairy BS where they have genuinely nothing to say. Right? This woman in particular, guys, is just all over TikTok, by the way. Still hasn't been banned or anything like that. Probably never will be. Okay? But let's continue on to the next video.
Trust a guy who hates.
Let's take a look at this one.
Never trust a guy who hates astrology and cats because he probably hates women too. Now, hear me out. Because if he hates astrology, you know, this female-dominated sphere, he will probably immediately judge a woman for having an interest in anything. And you know, this isn't really new because teenage boys and men can obsess over video games and sports, and no one really has a problem with it. But once something is popularized by women, it's written off as stupid.
Astrology is not written off as stupid because women are interested in it. It's written off as stupid because it's astrology, right? If you are judging people based on their star signs, okay, you are getting yourselves involved in a field that, you know, talks about rocks and crystals and all this kind of crap. People view it as stupid, not because women are the ones doing it, but because it's stupid. You see what I'm getting at, guys? Like, I actually just had a look at the comments. This is exactly what I'm having a look at this, right? Look. Bro, you'll judge people off of astrology and blame your actions on your sign. Right? It's like, guys, they make... Again, it's not because women, right, choose to, you know, gravitate more towards astrology that makes people view it as stupid. What makes people view it as stupid is when you judge someone entirely off of the fact that they're a Virgo, for example. Or they're an Aquarius or whatever the hell, right? Again, let's have a look at some of these comments. It's good to see that this woman is actually getting called out a little bit here. Never knew being allergic to cats would make me misogynistic. Next guy says, you make astrology your behavior. And then we got obviously some clowns in the comments saying, ma'am, you chose facts today. I don't like astrology not because it's based on introspection, but because it's placing a belief in something that's simply not true. I mean, I am a woman and I don't like astrology and I don't agree with the cat thing either. I love cats and others don't. That's just life. Blah, blah, blah. Let's have a look at this one by Shooby Dooby Doo, who says, they literally justify their actions with the arrangement of the stars on their birthday. No, 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 my friend, you misinterpret. It's because girls like it, okay, that it's silly. It's not because of anything like that, all right? Have some common sense, Shooby Dooby Doo. It's funny, right? How this guy in the comments named Shooby Dooby Doo with no profile picture has more common sense than the woman who made the video. And guys, let's make this absolutely clear. This video has 228,000 likes on it. It has over 6,000 comments, which means it has well over 1 million views. And people are just accepting this stuff by the bucket load. How crazy is that?
And astrology is centered around self reflection and introspection, and toxic masculinity views that as a bad thing.
Yeah. Anything that disagrees with what you say or what you're interested in, that's toxic masculinity, right? That is you know, men being bad people. Anyone who disagrees with you is just automatically a bad person, right? Anyone who makes fun of you on the internet, right? Anyone who has a negative opinion about you. Guys, let me tell you something, right? Let me just give you an example here. On this YouTube channel, many of you guys have left in the comments like, oh, Taylor, why are you deleting our comments? Guys, I do not delete any comments on YouTube, right? I don't care. Like, if you guys want to say things, it's YouTube who comes along and deletes the comments. Like, when people come and criticize me or like make fun of my avatar or whatever, I think a lot of it's funny, right? I remember one guy when I first started making videos, man, he's like, why is this David Bowie vampire talking? And I thought that was hilarious, okay? But these girls seem to view anyone who criticizes them as like a terrible person. You know what I mean? It's like, oftentimes, guys, I think criticism, you know, it can be very healthy, it can be very funny, depending on what's said. And a lot of stuff is just jokes. It doesn't mean that, like, that guy who wrote the comment in my comment section is a bad person. He's probably a funny dude. You see what I'm saying? But these girls, rather than accept the fact that people are not interested in the same things that they are, they'll turn around and say it's a result of toxic masculinity. Absolutely hilarious.
So he probably has issues with vulnerability. And if he goes on about how he hates cats, he probably has issues with consent because, you know, you have to earn a cat's trust and cats kind of just like do whatever they want. So if he lacks the emotional capacity to love something that he can't control, I think that says something. Never trust a
And I just love a bit of propaganda at the end, guys, where girls seem to think that they can just psychoanalyze anything. And it's so crazy to me, right? How they can go, okay, this guy doesn't like a cat. Well, that obviously means that he has intimacy issues and he's toxic and he's got toxic masculinity and all this stuff. Guys, this is from someone who I really don't like cats. Okay, I just don't like the animal at all. I think that they're annoying. They always seem to rub against me. Like, they do that stuff when you're like standing upright and they just like try and weave themselves around your legs. And I don't know, it just really pisses me off, right? And they always just show up at the weirdest times, okay? I just don't like cats. You know what I'm saying? But this woman would come along and say, you know what, Taylor? You don't like cats because, you know, you've got toxic masculinity. It's like, maybe I just am not interested in the animal, right? You ever think about that? Like, certain people just are not interested in certain animals. They don't like these ones for certain reasons. But these girls seem to think that they could just come along and psychoanalyze anybody. And, you know, this truly is a 2021 video. But let's continue on to the next one.
I love how guys will be like, not all men. But then we'll proceed to say shit like, not that I don't trust you, it's that I don't trust other guys. And then they'll be like, get home safe. Safe from what? Ghosts? Other women? Huh? A bear?
Okay, and I've kind of made these points on the previous video that we just watched, right? But again, just because someone says to get home safe doesn't mean that they're referring to all men when they say outside. And I'd also like to add as well, because she brought up just then that, like, what am I going to be scared of other women, right? Why would I need to take care of other women? Like, you know, be careful around girls out there. Let me tell you something, guys. Girls can be pretty damn brutal as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, to say that men are the only ones who you have to get home safe from. Like, if you guys, depending on what city you live in, right? You walk around alone at night and stuff like that. I mean, girls can be pretty awful too. Right? It's not just dudes who are out here being terrible. It's like there can be some pretty brutal girls. And this reminds me of the same thing, right? Where girls will say, oh, dudes handle rejection so poorly. Guys, have you ever seen a woman get rejected? Right? That can be genuinely dangerous. Like, I actually mean that, guys. Some of the stuff that I've seen, like, oh my goodness, man, where these girls will be like, oh yeah, men just can't control their emotions, right? They're so insane, and I don't want to reject dudes because I'm worried about this and that. And guys, these are the same girls where like, if you break up with them or if you don't want to talk to them anymore, these are the types of girls that, you know, you can't leave your car out on the street because she knows where you live and she's going to come along and ruin your tires, right? It's like this idea that people don't have to be cautious of women. Guys, there are some crazy women out there. I mean, you guys already know just how bad it can be out there. So I don't know. I always find that stuff super weird where, like, everyone has to be careful. Like, they don't seem to think that you have to be careful of women out there. right? This is 2021. We got some absolute crazies. I don't really care what gender people are at the moment. Like, people are people, man. You got to be careful depending on your neighborhood and all that. But let's continue onto a couple of Reddit stories, gentlemen, because these are some absolutely funny ones. And truth be told, I've been waiting to show you guys some of these because these are absolutely hilarious. So we have a story right here, which is just, it is just so funny, okay, guys? So it is titled, "Treated me like a girlfriend, but doesn't want a girlfriend. We're both in our mid-30s. I've been dating a guy for a few months who always initiated and planned fun dates, paid for everything, and texted me every day. He was always considerate and learned what I liked both in person and in bed, and then made an effort to do those things without my asking. Things were really fun and great until last week when he volunteered that he's not looking for a relationship. I told him that I had some feelings and that if he was not in a place to at least explore where things could go, then we shouldn't continue seeing each other. He agreed with zero pushback, saying he had feelings for me but doesn't want a relationship right now because he's focusing on himself after a breakup. There was no equivocation like I'm not ready yet or I'd like to see where this could go. Just totally get it. Wish you all the best. I guess I just don't get what went wrong or why someone would act like a boyfriend but then be happy to end things because he doesn't want to be one. I didn't even ask him for a relationship, but my feeling is what's the point in seeing where things could go when I already know that he doesn't want one? Did I do something wrong? Did he? Why would he just let me go? I know that when a man tells you he doesn't want a relationship, believe him. So why does it feel like I screwed up? Update, I did plan and pay for some stuff. I let him chase me for the first month or so, and then it settled into a mutual thing. I let him chase me for the first month or so. Fantastic, right? The relationship conversation started after I noticed he was updating his app and let him know I didn't love that. He immediately apologized and told me he hadn't been seeing anyone but me. We left it at that, and a few days later, he told me that he didn't want a relationship. Guys, let's pause right there. And, it's super funny to read stuff like this. And the reason why it's so funny, guys, is because you can't see it off the screen here. But this particular post is from a very particular subreddit. Now, this subreddit is called Dating Over 30. Okay? Guys who have options in the dating market, girls will be so frustrated. For the 6 girls who are watching this channel right now, the 6 women who watch this, they're going to be pretty frustrated when I say this. When girls get to 30 plus, it makes dating a lot harder for you. Okay, dudes are not going to, why would a dude come along and go, you know what, I'm going to have a relationship with a girl who's in her 30s plus or whatever, and like when I could just be in a relationship with a girl who's in her 20s, right? A lot of these girls, I've made this point many, many times, guys, but they think that they have an unlimited amount of time to come along and to find a boyfriend or to find a husband and stuff like that. I mean, guys, we've all seen it time and time again, right? Where girls will be like, oh, what did I do wrong? Or why can't I start a family? And the girl's like sitting at 36 years old, and now she wants to start taking relationships more seriously. Okay? The guy doesn't want a relationship with you because why would he want a relationship with you? Right? He's going to sit around and see where this stuff goes? Like, he already knows. No. Okay, you could have had your man many years ago. And just a few points to make on this. So let's break this down a little bit. Let's break this down. I let him chase me for the first month. Okay, again, this idea that men are here to just pursue women for a month and all this kind of crap, guys. If you're on a dating app and you're talking to a girl for such a lengthy amount of time, please just save your time. Okay, but I want you guys to notice how relationships become so important to women after they're 30, right? They'll throw away relationships in their 20s like they're nothing. Oh, this guy's hair is a little bit too long. This guy's hair is a little bit too short. This guy doesn't dress how I like. This guy's teeth isn't wide enough. This guy doesn't have good career prospects, blah, blah, blah. And girls will throw out relationships left and right because dudes don't meet any one of a number of criteria, okay? But when they get to 30 plus, now the relationships start to matter a bit more, right? And we've seen the memes on this channel, guys, where I've covered TikToks and stuff like that. And I'm just going to put up some gameplay while I talk to you gentlemen here for a minute. But, you know, we've seen the memes, right, where the girls will come along and say, oh, well, now that I'm 35 plus, I just want a guy who breathes, right? I just want one man to come along and have a relationship, and then everything's going to be fine from then. I just want a guy to come and save me, right? And often these girls have kids in tow. Okay, they've got tremendous amounts of baggage. They've got a lot of debt. which is one particular story that I need to cover over on Patreon and locals soon. One of you guys sent me in something, guys. One of you gentlemen sent me in an article, and I kid you not, this woman had something like 420 grand in debt, and now she wants a dude to come along and save her. Like, this is how clown world this crap is getting, right? But again, this is the reason why a lot of these relationships become more and more important to girls as they get into their 30s, is because they need the security. That guy, she didn't care about that guy back when she was 20. She didn't give a crap where he was at. But let's continue on to the next Reddit story, guys. And that was a pretty funny one. I like reading stuff like this because girls act oh so confused. They're like, you know, why wouldn't he give me a relationship? Like, what did I do wrong? It's like, you're 30 plus. Okay, if a guy has options, he doesn't have a reason to. This is why you don't put this stuff on so late, and this is why you don't treat those guys like crap when you're in your 20s, okay? But let's continue on to the next Reddit story. And guys, thank you very much for submitting these in as well. It's super helpful, guys. So if you guys have any submissions and stuff like that, I have an email set up in the description box below, guys, where you guys can send your submissions in for the show. But let's continue on to the next article. This one right here from our favorite subreddit is a very short one, but it just reads, if a man does not date within his age range, it's a red flag. A 36-year-old man with a 26-year-old woman, ? It's a red flag. Men who avoid relationships with women the same age as them are not looking for a partner. They are looking for a woman that they can lie to, act important in front of, and manipulate into being with him. If a man is over 30, regardless of his success or wealth, needs to date someone younger, it's a straight up red flag. Guys, this is the moment. I need to set up like a soundboard, right, where I can start saying who hurt you. Because that's what all these girls say, man. They're like, oh, you know, you disagree with me, or you don't want a relationship with me even though I'm this age, or any number of things. They'll hit you with the old who hurt you, right? Because rather than accept accountability and go, you know what, maybe he doesn't want me for X, Y, Z reason, maybe he doesn't want a relationship for this or that reason, rather than accept any accountability, she'll turn around and say, oh, who hurt you? Right? Oh, you don't want a relationship, you don't want to get married. That's the big one right now, okay? A lot of dudes are not wanting to get married for very obvious reasons, okay? But then they'll come along and say, oh, who hurt you? And it's obviously just a reflection of your experiences that you don't want to come out here and date me. Like, that's what a lot of these girls are doing, man, referring back to the beginning of today's episode, okay? Where rather than, you know, come at you with any sort of logic or anything that really makes sense, they're going to sit there and they're going to try and shame you into decisions that are not going to help you along in life. And I think that's incredibly sad. Like, that's just a really sad thing. Really sad position. But guys, we are going to be continuing on to today's second last piece right here. And now this is an article that is pretty funny. I saw this one over on Strong Successful Male. So I wanted to shout out to him, guys. He runs a fantastic channel as well. He shares a lot of interesting stories and helps dudes navigate a lot of pitfalls, particularly in relationships and all that sort of stuff. But I found he did this article a little while ago, and I found this to be absolutely hilarious. So let's pull this one up right here. This is titled, Hell Hath No Fury Like a Woman in Her 30s, written by Sabian O'Connor from the independent.ie. So let's take a little bit of a read. Smile and the world smiles with you. It's a mantra which has caused me a lot of hassle over the years. It's supposed to work. You smile at a person and the person smiles back and positive energy is exchanged. True, but for one rare breed who don't take kindly to such warmth, I have been accused of being fake, flirty, naive, and overly tactile by this eclectic species. I attempted an experiment last week and smiled at 20 women who fall into the category above. Not one smiled back at me. Were they afraid that I was some kind of freak? No. The truth is that they were jealous, threatened because I am a woman and a younger one at that. Who are these miserable creatures? They are, of course, B-wordy women in their 30s. Watch out. Lock up your man and say a prayer that they aren't residing in a neighborhood near you. Women in their 30s who have not yet secured a man are the most venomous of the species. The phenomenon is explored in the dash hit Desperate Housewives. Lead character Terry Hatcher, who plays Susan Mayer, is infatuated with Mike Delfino. When bombshell Nicolette Sheridan, who plays feisty serial divorcee Edie Britt, attempts to sway his affections, 30-something Hatcher becomes desperate. In one episode, Delfino's dog shows more affection towards Edie, so Susan retaliates by smothering herself in gravy. The dog licks her face, giving the impression to Delfino that the dog approves of her. This kind of behavior is obviously juvenile, but it seems common practice amongst this peer group, and it extends far beyond television. For fear of tarring all female 30-somethings with the same brush, there are many who are not B-words, who are not bitter and twisted, but are happy in their own skin and who aren't out to cause consternation, but this is rare. There are no self-help books to eradicate such B-wordy tendencies. Why did this peer group conform to such behavior? My own experience of this generation is one of uninspiring trepidation. B-wordiness breeds B-wordiness, but I have learnt over the years to smile back at women of this kind, and most importantly, say nothing. The soundest piece of advice I ever got was from my best friend and grandmother. Nobody likes to be ignored, she said. And guys, we're gonna leave that article right there. I think we could really go a lot more in depth, but I've got one more thing I wanted to show you guys before we wrap up. But this is what happens to girls in their 30s, guys. They become very frustrated, especially the ones who haven't secured a guy. And they'll come along and they'll make posts saying, you know, men are so terrible, like why won't a guy be serious with me? Meanwhile, they threw away the chance to get the guy that they were actually desired while they were in their 20s, guys. And they'll make stuff like, they will be some of the most jealous girls it's so insane, right? How society will kind of paint it as though men are the ones that have all of the terrible behaviors, right? But have you ever seen a girl in her 30s, guys, who gets pretty desperate? Like some of the manipulation, some of the tactics, some of the awful things that they'll do behind your back. And other girls know this, right? They all know the game way ahead of the time before dudes do. This is why a lot of dudes get in marriages and they get really blindsided by this stuff. And a lot of other women are like, oh yeah, of course, I knew that was going to happen, because they know how each other works, right? They understand how this stuff works ahead of time. But guys, I had one final piece that I wanted to show you guys, and we'll be wrapping up today's show with this. And this, I believe, is a dating profile over on Tinder, I think it is. So let's take a little bit of a look at this, and then we'll be wrapping up today's show. This right here is from a 30-year-old woman, so let's take a little bit of a read of her about section. It says, "Hey there, smiley face. I'm actually 30 and a mother to a lovely little boy. Just wanting to find that spark. Want someone that has their crap together and wants to just enjoy life. Must have a job and not be a waster. I've done my time paying for guys, so no thanks," with a diamond emoji. "I'm not looking for random one-night stands. If you're not interested in taking me on a date, please don't waste my time. If you have read this far, I am a fun-loving girl that wants someone to enjoy life with." And right off the bat, we have a star sign, as if anyone gives a crap. Says better in person. They like drinking. They have a dog. They are socially active, and they're a social smoker. Guys, like right off the bat, okay, it's like, why would you bother? Okay. Like, I don't know what goes through some dude's heads, man, where you're like, you know what? I cannot imagine, right? If I'm an older dude, maybe I've done what I felt like doing in life, okay, and I'm looking to settle down, I would look at this and go, you know what? I'd rather just be myself, like, to be honest with you. Well, let's continue reading. Some of her passions are film, tattoos, gamer, wine, and she is a dog lover. And it ends there. But guys, right off the bat, you'll notice, okay, now that she's 30, she has a little boy, right? And the father figure isn't in the picture. She needs somebody with a job. Guys, do not sit there and be the wallet for these women, guys. They got themselves into this mess. They can get themselves out. But gentlemen, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, make sure you leave your thoughts and your comments to some of the things that we went through on today's show, guys. It's always interesting to see what you gentlemen have to say. And without further ado, guys, we're going to be leaving it there. So as always, gentlemen, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you boys in the next episode. Peace.